Here we go. Let's do this.
We've got one life, one shot. Who do you want to be? What do you want to do? Addicted to Betterment, a podcast to inspire us to keep going, to try something new, to dream, to think big, bigger, to overcome. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
Man, I am excited for today's episode. It's David with Addicted to Betterment. We're going in deep today, and I tell you what, we're here to talk about making excuses and making excuses for your health. So recently, a colleague and a friend, someone that I admire and respect for being excellent. You know, you have those people in your life that you look at, and whenever you're around them, you always feel like you're just admiring and respecting their work ethic, their attention to detail, and their relentless pursuit of excellence. Well, my friend and colleague, incredible in business, incredible in so many areas in life. And recently, one day I showed up and he says, David, I'm doing 75 hard. We've all heard that before. So it usually turns into too hard. And then it's like, I'm done. But the following week, we were at a big event, had cocktails and pizza. And my friend, colleague, who had just said last week, hey, David, I'm doing 75 hard. Well, clearly I have some issues I need to work on, because I'm like, bro, have a cocktail, have a pizza. And he's like, no, man, I'm not doing it. And he said something in that moment that is the reason for this episode. And friends, he looked at me and he said, David, I'm sick of making excuses for my health. I'm not doing it anymore. Man, he could have knocked me out. And what that got me thinking is we usually think of, or I usually think of, people making excuses. I think of people lazy, undisciplined, and it's like, yeah, I'm making excuses. And what I realized is that's not true. That's a lie. The reality is all of us, high achievers, high performers, in some area of our life, we're making excuses. And guess what? We can do better. And so I reached out to my friend Shawn Boykin. Shawn is not only a friend and a brother, but he's also a world-class athlete, probably the most fit person that I know in my life. And he's a lead trainer at Lifetime, and literally spends all of his work hours helping people overcome fitness challenges, mindset, and making excuses. And so I reached out to him and said, brother, can you join me on our podcast? Because I need help. And I know thousands of listeners that are working with are struggling with the same thing. So Shawn, thank you for joining us today. And man, I'm excited to tap into that wealth of knowledge that you have and share it with our listeners.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for having me, David. Happy to be on the podcast. Truthfully, when you called me, just said you needed me to be there, I was already on my way. So just to be able to do this podcast with you is exciting. Looking to explore it, unpack, and really connect with some individuals out there today to make a better change. So looking forward to this time with you, David.
Well, Shawn, I got to share with everyone who listens to this episode one of the funniest moments of my life. So as I already said, Shawn is, well, he's not he is the most fit friend that I have, period, hands down. And I look at him, I'm like, man, I want a body like that. Well, recently I was talking to his wife, and me, I love shit talk. It's my love language. It literally is my favorite thing. So me being me and trying to talk shit about Shawn to his wife, I asked her jokingly, I'm like, do you ever get, I can't remember the word I used, but because I'm so much more fit than Shawn. And I'll never forget the look on her face was, she was trying to figure out two things. Is David in complete denial, or is he just completely off his rocker? So I'm glad she didn't punch me, and I'm glad she didn't talk shit back. I could tell she's like, he's crazy. So Shawn, man, first I want to say congratulations to you on the disciplines and the effort and hard work, because I know being fit and staying at the level of fitness that you maintain takes discipline and hard work, but also the level of knowledge and the information and education that you put into that. We've had many conversations around it. And what I want to dive into first is, if we're making excuses for our health, and I know that I imagine I'm going to uncover some today. What are some of the excuses that we as humans make?
Yeah. I think the most common excuse that I commonly see from my clients or just individuals I come in contact with at the club is probably time, right? I don't have the time to go to the gym. I don't have the time to make a meal, to cook dinner, to prep. I don't have the time to go to sleep. I don't have the time to drink water. I don't have the time to get enough protein in, right? We always have these instances in which we feel we're on a crunch line and a timeline. And in reality, we're just not making the time because we don't want to put that first. So the biggest thing that I constantly hear is just that I don't have the time to be able to go to the gym. I can't do that, right? I don't have time today. But I asked them, do you have time to brush your teeth in the morning? Do you have time to take a shower? Do you have time to go to the bathroom? Those are things that you do, everything that you have to do every single day, right? If you have that same mindset when it comes to fitness and health, you begin to adapt habits where these things are a routine for you and you don't have to make time. David, when was the last time you told your wife you had to make time to go to the bathroom?
Never.
Never. You never have to make that time because that's a natural body function. That's something that you have to do, right? We adopt the mindset of we need to do these things for the betterment of our health, right? Then these things don't become time barriers because these things become routine. These are our habits. And then those things start to form into becoming who we are. And then it's not, oh, well, David, you've changed. It's actually, this is who I am. So those are the big things that I see from time to time.
Man, you just said something. I'm sure I've made that excuse, so called an excuse, many times. I heard a guy say recently that, this vehicle that we've been given to stay on this rock that's suspended in space, Earth, this is the only vehicle we get. When it's gone, we don't get a replacement. Now we can get some replacement parts here and there, but the vehicle is the one vehicle. And to think for a second that we're not going to take the very best care of that vehicle because it's the only one we got. Man. And then we just, so time. What's another excuse that we make regularly?
I think a lot of the biggest excuse that I also hear is money, right? Money. I can't afford this. I can't afford training. I can't afford this. But I ask people, what can you afford when it comes to your health? And how much and how important is your health to you? And tell me the price tag. Last I checked, my body didn't come with a price tag. So I'm sorry, I can't really put a price on my health because I understand that health takes precedence over maybe some other things, like maybe some subscriptions to some streaming shows. Maybe I'm not going out to eat as much because maybe I need to develop and I need to get into a plan and a program to get me to where I need to be. And that's where people are lost because they feel they don't have the money. And I understand we're in a time and a situation where we don't know what's to come. Eggs are $6 just to get 18, right? So you're paying a pretty penny just for a main source in the household. So we're not naive to the cost of the daily. But truthfully, do you know how much it costs for diabetes medicine, heart medicine? How much it costs to go to the doctors, get the copay, get the deductible? How much does it cost to have somebody take care of you because you can't take care of yourself? Sometimes we don't think about that. We just think about, well, it's just on us. But some other people are affected by our actions as well. So it's a bigger concept of things. So I'd encourage everybody to try to make time to get money. And then the biggest thing is that where people come from is they don't have knowledge. And that's where you need to get a coach. That's where you need to get a trainer. That's where you need to get someone in the space with the knowledge to be able to give you the goal, the plan, the program, and the know-abouts to get you where you need to be.
So addicted to betterment, we talk a lot to high achievers and high performers. And something you just said is the knowledge. How often do you see people? I'll actually put myself in this category where if I can't do it awesome, if I can't go and get this crazy workout or if, I'm not going to be able to do this program that I'm committing to. So I'm just, I'll skip it today.
Let me give you an example. I ask you this, David. If you went out to your car, right, and you saw you had one of your tires flat, would you go slice the other 3 tires?
Oh, man. No, I would not.
Okay. But somehow we take that mindset when it comes to health and fitness. I had one bad day. I slipped up one time. I ate something that I shouldn't have ate. So now I got to poop away and throw away the entire regimen. I'm not going to work out the next day because I didn't feel well because I was out the night before. And because I didn't feel well, I'm not going to hit the gym. So I'm not going to have the energy. And then I need to have something to help me with that energy. So I need something sweet, sugary, and salty. So I need something to help with that. And that's just going to be stored as fat. And then I'm going to be really feeling sluggish because I ate something that really wasn't the best for me, but I needed it because it's what I had available. And it comes into a downward spiral. So we have to get out of the mentality that because we have a slip up or we mess up one time, we have to take away everything. I tell my clients, have a winning record throughout the week, right? When it comes to eating and habits, there's 7 days in the week. Let's go 4 to 5 days of healthy eating, healthy habits, training, 5 days of that. And then let's maybe have 3 or 2 days of maybe we're having a cocktail, or we're having date night and we're eating a little more than we typically do. We're celebrating a birthday event or a celebration. Okay. We have to make allowances for ourselves, for some individuals, to be able to continue the longevity of it. Because if we take on the mindset that we can't make somewhat of allowances, we begin to think we can't do anything at all because of that. Right. And now that's when you are able to have fulfillment and longevity, because it's something that you are encouraged and you're inspired to be.
Have a winning record. I mean, we in the podcast right now, today, this moment. I mean, so it's interesting because I feel like what a lot of us battle. I had to write that down, Shawn. I mean, I'm going to probably put that here in my office, but is this mindset of I can't do it great, or I had a bad day or whatever. I'll just skip this week. I'll skip tomorrow. So this have a winning record. And then it's the mindset. It's that delicate balance of, you hear discipline, do the thing. And so it's that delicate balance of giving yourself grace. How do you help people, or what would you give, knowledge to people struggling with that? Like how to lean the right way in that delicate balance.
And first you have to ask and understand the person, because I believe everybody's specific individual. Some people, right, they need to be strict and have no allowances, right? They can't have, I can't have cookies in the house because I'm eating cookies. Right. So those individuals maybe don't need to be on that leniency of a 4 to 3 or a 5 and 2. It may be more of a 6 to 1. OK, so I think it's specific on each individual. And that's why I found out in my training that not every shoe fits every person. So you have to be able to adapt and understand what has prevented somebody before in the past. Some individuals are not able to give themselves small allowances because they then go into these spirals of just bad decision making, right? Some individuals are able to realize that, okay, this is a small little setback and I can get right back on it the next day. So you have to be able to understand what is best and specific to that person. And then when you understand that, then you can identify and say, okay, then we can't go 5 and 2. We have to go 6 and 1. There's no non-negotiable, there's no negotiables there. And we can talk about habits, routines, and things to help to get to that point. But for some individuals, we have to have a shorter leash. That's okay.
Give me the most common, I feel like that's probably time, excuse that we make. But what's an excuse that people make that I wouldn't think of? That would, no, I don't have enough time, don't have enough money. I like the knowledge one. What's another one that we sometimes use and we don't realize we're using it as an excuse?
I would say when it comes to the time, I would say people don't make the time, but people don't realize that time is the factor. I don't need this right now. I don't need this at this time, right? I'm not going to make this time. I don't need this at this time because I don't see it. It all filtrates back to the knowledge and the lack thereof, and understanding what is actually vital and important, and implementing strength training and making sure you're getting your protein in every single day and getting enough water and making sure you're getting that adequate sleep every night. Those are the factors that you have to be consistent with in order to see the results, but it has to be habitual. It has to be consistent over a period of time. If those disciplines do not continue, there's going to be fluctuations throughout the progress. So for me, that small one is, I don't need this right now. It's kind of, I don't want to say, with due respect, arrogance. It's respectful arrogance, right? It's, David, I know that this gunshot wound is bleeding, but, this Band-Aid, it's just going to cover it up, right? I'm just going to cover that up and just keep on going, take my aspirin, and we can use that as another form of what people take to get results, right? We can utilize that, and I'm just going to utilize that, and that's what I'm going to take instead. So it's that respectful arrogance and lack thereof. I don't need this right now because now is not the time, and I don't think it's worth my time.
Man, so the next thing I was going to ask is why do we make those excuses? Why is it? Because you can't tell me it's hard. You can't tell me because it's a hard thing. No, because there's a lot of hard things I'm doing in my life right now. And so when you said that, it's like this respectful arrogance. Why is it? Why is it that we do that? Why is it that people think, oh, I don't need it right now? Mentally, I want to preface that question. One of the reasons why I called you first, when I said I got to do an episode or 10 or 20 on this, who am I going to? Shawn Boykin. One, not because, yes, because your shit on fitness and all that stuff, but more so because of the mindset that I know you put into that. I want to understand, why do we do it? What's the mindset? What's going in our head that makes us either say, I don't need it right now, or I don't have enough time? Why do we do that?
Comfortability. We all love being comfortable. Have you ever grown in a place of comfort? I can't tell you the last time that I have. Comfortability is going to kill the cat the same way the curiosity did. Because the comfortability is going to get that, or fat cat, you're going to get Garfield. Right? That's right. Yeah, what's going to happen. Okay. So for understanding how to overcome that, it comes because we want to be in a place where we feel familiar, where we feel we can be in control, where we feel that we can dictate what's best for us. We don't want to go away from that. We don't want to do that, David. We feel that we want to do what we feel is best for us, regardless of whatever anything else, statistics, trainers, doctors, whoever may say elsewise. So by understanding that, you can then realize, wow, we just really want to be comfortable. Because truthfully, it's easy to do the hard things. Because all you got to do is just not do them. It's easy to do the hard things. You just don't got to do them. Like that's it. Just don't do them. So that's easy stuff. I'm not going to the gym. It's easy to do the hard stuff, right? But it's hard to do the hard stuff.
I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around why myself or other people like me that, listen. We have tons of people that, man, the second the first episode comes out on Addicted to Betterment, they're going to listen to it because they know, we're talking about the life wheel and ways to get better in every area of life. And so these are people like myself, all of our friends, who are addicted to being the best version of themselves they can be. And so, I'm used to tackling hard. As a matter of fact, I eat hard for breakfast or whatever you want to say. And then to your point, I find myself doing the exact same things. I feel like you're talking to me when you're saying all that stuff. I'm like, why are you looking at me? I guess because we're doing a podcast together, but you're talking right at me. And I'm like, but why? What is going on in our heads that allows us to justify that? Do you any input on that?
Well, I think it comes down to, let's take certain examples, right? I'm not going to make the time because I got to work. I gotta go be at home with the wife. I gotta go do that. Right. But we know we haven't been to the gym all week. We understand that we haven't done those things. So we make those allowances or excuses and we cover it with, I'm doing it for the business. I'm doing it because I'm at home with the wife. I'm not saying don't be a devoted husband. I'm not saying don't take care of your business, but I know that you can make 30 minutes. You can make 30 minutes. I believe everybody can make 30 minutes. You can get down and do some push-ups at the house. You can do body weight squats. You can do forward lunges, reverse lunges, squats, sit-ups, high knees. You could do a nice high-intensity workout in the comfort of your home in 30 minutes. That's what COVID brought us, truthfully. So we just cover up the why we can't with comfortability, and then with, oh, well, we got the business and I got to be home and because then we feel better about ourselves, right? We feel good, right? Well, I didn't work out this week, but you know what? I closed that sale.
Listen, I've never ended a podcast in the middle of it, but I'm about to. I'm about to. This is going to be the first one that we shut it off, and we're not releasing this one to the public. Because I can, like, I'm sitting there, my face is hot. I can feel myself sweating. So we make excuses. We talk about some of the excuses that we make. We're talking about why that we make them. We understand, if I'm me, so I'll tell you, Shawn, a lot of times Nikki and I are driving down the road, we're on vacation or something, we're like, hey, let's listen to that episode that dropped. We haven't even, we recorded it, we haven't listened to it. And I can't tell you how often we listen to them, we're looking at each other going, we need to do what we just talked about. And so I'm confident that I'm going to listen to this at some point. And I'm like, freaking Shawn Boykin. Now I got to go. He challenging me because it's, I just made that excuse. So I make that decision. I'm like, man, thank you, Shawn. Thank you. I'm inspired. I'm challenged. I'm motivated. What is some tips? Let's talk about action. So people hear this. They're like me. They're like, he's talking right to me. Now I'm going to take action. Help me and our friends. What's some things we can put in place to stop making excuses for our health?
First thing, and I'm just going to be selfish, get a trainer. The reason why I say that is because when you put yourself in a position or in front of somebody that has experience that can get you the program, the plan, the exercises, the nutrition, and give you all the whereabouts that's going to help you exceed and go past your goals. David, let me ask you, when it comes to your money, do you have somebody that you turn to for your money?
100%.
When you're sick, do you have somebody you turn to for your health? Okay. When it comes to the fitness side of things, you already got me, so I don't have to ask you that question. But you have resources available to you for individuals that are subject matter experts in that space, not the TikTokers, not that I saw the new trend on IG. No, individuals that are in that space, in that training to be able to help get you where you need to be. Sometimes people have to pay money in order to do things because you're not going to go. That's the biggest thing that people sometimes don't realize. There's a woman in my mind right now that I know needs training, wants training. Money is not a problem whatsoever because she has her own business and runs her own business. Her sons tell her that she needs to do personal training. Her sons now have personal trainers. She knows that she needs to make at least an hour a week. And I understand. I told her I'm going to reach out to her every single week until she comes in because I realize that she does not come in unless we had a scheduled appointment. And I know that every week that I text her and she doesn't come in, it's proving my point more why she needs the training because she's not coming in without it. So you have to sometimes put yourself on a paid schedule, on a calendar. And that's the first thing I would encourage people to do. Make the time for it outside of getting a trainer. Make the time for it. You need to make time for your training. You need to be able to plan out, when do you have 30 minutes? When do you have 45? When do you have an hour? Dedicate time the same way you would make time for anything else that you would do.
Man, this is really good. I'm going to dive into something and probably going to put you on the spot. So I talk to business owners every day and I talk to business owners that I know need coaching, need some, coaching on certain things. And they tell me what they're struggling with. I'm thinking, dang, if you hired, paid for some training, some coaching, you would solve that. And I look at the ROI. If you fix that and paid a professional and expert to help you fix that, the return on investment would be insane. So the person that is listening to this right now and says, and they hear Shawn say, get a trainer. And they're thinking, yeah, okay, well, you are a trainer. That's why you're saying it. And then I know trainers are really expensive. So I don't know if I can afford it or if I don't want to afford it because I know they're very pricey. Talk to us about what the real ROI, what that looks like, that investment. Why is that investment worth it? Really, why is it?
The reason why that investment is worth it is because that knowledge that you get from that trainer is knowledge that you did not have prior to meeting with them. And if you do know some of the base levels of it, how far have you gone and where are you at currently right now? And how confident are you to getting to that next step? Because sometimes when I'm talking to individuals, they seem like they have been in the same position, David, for quite some time. I'll be honest. It doesn't seem like this just now happened. Oh, I'm just now out of shape. I just now added this weight. I just now don't have the nice muscles that it seems like you've been at this for a little bit of time. So if time has shown us anything or history has shown us something before, it looks like we need to change and learn something from it. So if we're doing the same thing again and again, what's that definition, David?
Insanity.
Right? But sometimes we don't have that real truth. We don't want to say that because then we have to take ownership. And we have to say, oh, daggone, maybe I am that reason that I'm not where I need to be. Right? So maybe I have to humble myself and say, okay, maybe there's knowledge that I do not have that I can learn that's going to better me, better my health, better my stress levels. It's going to help with my overall confidence. It's going to help with my body composition. It's going to help with my sleep. All that actually gives me more life. It actually increases your life and gives it an actual passion, longevity. What's the point of living if you have no energy, if you are always humdrum all the time looking like Eeyore? Why? Why? But you know what does give you energy? You know what does help with that stuff? You know what is released when you're training? Those endorphins, right? It comes through training. And it all comes down to, okay, well, maybe I don't need a trainer. I can't afford it. Okay, well, great. Well, how long have you been in that position? Have you just gotten that position? If you've been in that position for a while, tell me what you did before in the past that's helped you get to that new goal. Okay, well, great. You haven't accomplished that new goal. Well, great. I'm going to give you some information that's going to help you get to that goal. I'm going to give you some knowledge and things that are going to be beneficial for you to do that. Again, how important is your health? Because I'll be honest with some of the people that I meet with my clientele. The club that I work at Lifetime, it's not a cheap one. Okay. So there is an expense that comes with it. So that is an investment that you're making because this is what's going to help you improve your quality of life. And the feedback that I give with my clients, I could be here all day to tell you the feedback that I've gotten in the return on investment. Oh, David, my watch, my wedding ring is falling off when I'm doing the dishes. Shawn, you saved my life because if I didn't have this muscle, I would have died. This is genuine feedback that I've received from clients. You just can't make it up. And it reinforces the importance thereof getting into training, getting into strength training, talking to somebody that knows what they're doing.
I got goosebumps. That was awesome. But most people, so you said earlier, find somebody who knows what they're talking about. Don't find TikTok. Don't find the thing. So most people aren't as blessed as I am. I have friends like you who I know is rich of substance. You care about helping people and you have real depth and knowledge. And so the first thing I want to talk about is what's some steps that people could take to find that person. So you're at Lifetime. Friends, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm the biggest fan of Lifetime on the planet. Loudly, I'll tell you that. I love Lifetime. I actually say a lot. It's my sanctuary. I go there, man. I put my headphones on. I usually try to dap up my friends, but it's my place. So I love everything you said about that. If you're near Lifetime, guys, go to Lifetime. That's the place to be. But how do they find someone like that, Shawn? Go find somebody who knows what they're talking about. Where does someone start? And they're thinking, man, I need to go find somebody. I want to find a trainer. Give us some words of wisdom in doing that.
The best way to get connected is to go to the place where you can get connected to a trainer. So just I know this is not a Lifetime sponsored ad, but go connect to a club like Lifetime. Get connected to a club that you can better your knowledge and better your experience. And so for myself, that was at Lifetime. That's where I was able to gain that knowledge, experience, and information. If you're not at a Lifetime, if there's not a Lifetime that's nearby you or another place, there's multiple different gyms, and those are other avenues and ways that you can find that information. Other things that you can look into to help better your knowledge, better your information is to connect and talk with your healthcare doctor. Talk to them about some of your aspirations regarding your health. You can go to the doctor and let them know, doctor, I'm looking to actually change, lose this weight. I'm looking to grow this muscle. What would be your best advice to them? How would you suggest that? And typically that revolves around some form of training. So getting connected to a trainer, getting connected there. And truthfully, what helps people in their journey is getting involved into a community of individuals, like-minded individuals to help you, to support you, and to provide that encouragement through the journey. That's some of those things that aren't talked about the most, but that importance and that impact of having a strong community in a club like Lifetime, for instance, our members enjoy being there because they know they're going to be held accountable. They know that there's people that are going to be there that's going to pick on them if they haven't seen them in a couple of days. They know there's going to be people that they look forward to seeing every single day because they're getting better and they're bettering their health and they're living a happy and a healthy way of life because of what they're doing every day. So getting involved in a community of like-minded individuals helps people on that fitness journey, because then when you're around those individuals and that content that you're consuming on your social media, as well as probing more fitness, you're going to get more connected to the community and to those individuals. And that's when you can actually leverage things like social media to help educate you on certain informations and things that will help you with understanding the benefits of nutrition, talking about the impacts of, certain supplements that are good to take and what are not great to take. There's information out there, but, getting into a community is another action item I would encourage people to do that will help them continue on their journey.
Well, you're right. This is not a Lifetime does not give me a single dollar for mentioning that. I wish they did, but you can mention Lifetime because I am the biggest fan of Lifetime on the planet, and I will say that I'll tattoo it on my car. So Lifetime, if anybody from Lifetime's listening, I love Lifetime. If you want to pay something to be on the show, please, we'll take it gladly. You mentioned something earlier, and I want to dive into this for 1 second about the feedback that you get from people when they're on this health journey. You said the wedding ring. Talk about, for a second, just go down this list of what the real life benefits are when you're committed to this health journey, when you're training, when you're doing the things. Just remind us of what some of the great benefits are.
Yeah, the biggest thing that I hear is that my clients, I had an individual, she's 28. Her mother and as well as her sister had passed away before the age of 50 due to heart complications, obesity, under the age of 50. And she has a niece that looks up to her, and she's looking at her decisions that she's making. And now she has to be a role model and has to change generations. She has to change a family tree. She has to break a curse. She has to reroute what's going on inside her family history to create a new avenue, a new path. So what she's doing is truthfully being a beacon of hope to her family and her future family. And I commended her about how strong she was, because she doesn't understand how impactful, right? Impact is that big thing that she's making on her and the future people that she comes across. She's also able to, because she's a fellow Christian, she's able to testify and to witness individuals when they ask about why she does what she does. And she's driven by her faith, and she's driven by the people around her, because she is trying to be strong for her niece. So having that impact is so impactful, because when you are starting this fitness journey, you don't realize that what you're doing is not only impacting yourself, but it's impacting generations. You can break obesity. You can move away from certain diabetes because you're changing your diet and your habits, because a lot of times we're a consequence of just our parents and what we know is comfortable, because it's just what we know. We don't know any different, right? But we can educate ourselves and we can change, and we can be better for the future, for our children, for our children's children, for our friends, for families, for anybody who comes and asks us on this journey. And that's when you can actually glorify God by your body and what you do. It's in you're actually doing that when you're training. You're glorifying him and giving him the praise. So when people go, gosh, dang, you look great, they see him. They don't know that, because when you're doing training, you know what that is? It's discipline. Right? Right? What is discipline? Doing things that you don't want to do, but you need to do, and you just do them. That's the discipline. And that's the same discipline that we give to God, the same obedience that we honor to him. So that's why we're glorifying him and we're giving him the honor and the praise when we're doing our training, when we're doing those things.
Oh, man, that is so good, Shawn. I'm going to put you on the spot here. I feel challenged in myself today, and I can't imagine that the thousands of people who will listen to this or watch it wherever they consume will not be the same. And I want to put you on the spot for 3 people, because I have 3 different people in my life that I want to help today. One is I have someone in my life that I'm very close to, that I love dearly, and they are not exercising at all. And I've encouraged them. I've tried to hold them accountable. Hey, are you, and I watch every day as their health gets a little worse and a little worse. And I've watched this for years. What's one thing you would say to that person that happens to listen to this and they have years now where they just not taken a step, not done anything? What's some words of encouragement and then some action steps that you would give that person?
Well, I would first explain to that person just how much that person means to me. Okay. So I'm thinking if I was dealing with someone that I love dearly and they weren't doing the exercises and I'm seeing their health deteriorate, I think it's an opportunity not to highlight how bad they're doing, what they're not doing, but to highlight the impact that they have on the people around them and how that is so detrimental in the long-term effect of things. Because in reality, when we truthfully understand that our actions, again, really hurt and concern other individuals, we then give a different perspective to the pain that this person is going through, at least highlights the impact. And we show the importance that, hey, you mean a lot to me, person, and you have helped me and you've mentored me and you've taken care of me, you love me, you've looked after me, you have done so much, and I can't think of something terrible happening to you without you understanding the impact that you have on me and my life and the people around you, and how important you are to the other individuals in my life. And I want to keep you here and I want to stay that you're here, but I want you also to understand how important you are, because I'd rather you hear it while you're here and awake than the other option and you're looking down.
Friends, I hope you hear what Shawn just said, that you matter. You matter to someone. Take care of your health. Thank you. That was really good. What is a couple action steps that you would give that person? Hey, to get started, try this.
Yeah. So for me, part of the action items outside of, getting involved in training, getting a trainer, I'm a very faith-based person. So I understand that where my strength comes from, it comes from a higher power. And for me, I have to get connected and disciplined in a higher power in God, because he gives me the strength, the knowledge, the wisdom, the self-control, the words. He gives me the ability to do everything I need to do. So I understand that I am weak physically, spiritually, and emotionally, and that I can be strengthened through him. So I don't know if you're speaking to a fellow believer, but I would encourage that person to find and tap into their faith, because truthfully, by understanding and living a healthy way of life, that is actually pleasing to him. That is what's glorifying him. And I think, in all honesty, we all want to be able to know that we're living a purposeful and a life trending towards where we want to be at the end of the day. So getting connected into that faith is a big thing. And then, like I mentioned before, I think the last thing is community. Building yourself around with other like-minded individuals is so impactful. I do believe that you become, if you look to your left, you look to your right, those are the people that you will be around and become and look like, truthfully. And if you are able to understand and be able to encourage and be in a support in a group, there's so many groups. There's men's groups, there's Facebook groups, there's church groups. There's so many advocacy groups that you can be involved with that can help you on this journey. But it starts with getting involved in that community, right? I'm not going to start with the whole, it starts with you. Yeah, it starts with you. But there's some other things and other people that you can rely on that can help you. And I'm a firm believer in the community, and it takes a village. And I think I am here now because of the strong individuals and the people that have come in my life, that have poured into me, that have helped me. And I wouldn't be here without them. So I believe that's what's helped me.
That's awesome. I agree with you. The person who has just not gotten started, you can't tell that it starts with you. You got to pull yourself up by the bootstraps. Sometimes you got to have borrowed belief. Sometimes you got to have the strength of others to help you do that. So thank you for that. The second person I want to talk to is a person who has been in the gym, they've taken care of their bodies, and then life has happened. They've gotten sidetracked. They've gotten distracted, because it happens to the best of us. And they keep thinking, I got to get back in. And it's day after day of the making excuses that we've already talked about. What is some words of wisdom you'd give that person to say, hey, to get yourself started, to get back, do this?
Yeah. So right now we're having and this is not a lifetime sponsored ad, but we're having a 30 strong challenge, right? Right. So it's 30 days, 30 habits, strong habits, 30 grams of protein with each meal, drink half of your body weight in fluid ounces of water, get 7+ hours of sleep, limiting no alcohol, and just limiting that, making sure that you're getting over 8 to 10,000 steps in a day. So I would believe it starts with finding small little habits. Okay. Those are the things that are going to ultimately dictate the response in what you're going to do. Right. So start small with the individual who maybe hasn't been to the gym. Maybe that person needs to start with just getting these little check marks. So me, I love to-do lists. I love tasks. I love being able to know that I'm getting things done. So that individual maybe is 10,000 steps a day, 150 grams of protein in a day, 7 hours of sleep. And then I'm going to spend maybe 15 minutes doing some stretching, right? Something small, something I can do in front of the television while I'm watching TV, watching football, a commercial's on or something like that. Maybe I'm doing some stretching, something to improve my mobility, right? So I'm implementing small little habits, little things that I can do and digest before I go on to that big, okay, I'm going to the gym 3-4 days a week. I'm getting after it. It's the small little habits we got to build first.
Great stuff. Final one I'm going to ask you for is really a big, it's where my heart's at. I have a big heart for this. You and I love going to the gym. It warms my heart when you walk up and talk shit to me because I haven't hit leg day. I mean, actually kind of makes me mad, but still.
You have not hit leg day.
Friends, ignore that. So anyway, moving on. So I love the gym. I love going to the gym, seeing my brothers, fist stapping, and I just love that community. But there's a massive amount of people, Shawn, that the thought of it mentally and emotionally is overwhelming. There's a mindset, there's a mental piece of I'm too far gone. I don't know if I can do that. There's mental demons that many people fight to do it. And you and I, we think, oh, come on. And I was so glad you prefaced that first part by, not saying, now pick yourself up. It starts with you. It does. But at the end of the day, some people are struggling with bigger mental demons that what you and I can relate to. What is some words of encouragement, some action steps, some practices or habits or something that person listening to this today says, I'm going to start that. I'm going to do that to get my mental state into the place where I can get going.
So I think to answer that question, it starts with understanding yourself. Okay. And for a lot of individuals, we don't realize we're under stress. And those are the reasons when we start to get antsy, our body gets kind of antsy. Our body's releasing cortisol. We're in this state of fight or flight, or we have high anxiety, blood pressure's high. I'm never really comfortable because we're in a state of stress. So what I would say to that person is, when was that last time that person took some self-care and some self-development for themselves to be able to realize that you got to take care of yourself before you're trying to take care of other people? And sometimes we're trying to be the best husband. We're trying to be the best father. We're trying to be the best dad. We're trying to be the best business manager. We're trying to be the best lead trainer. We're trying to be the best everything. And sometimes we're not taking time to refill our cup to make sure that we are being the best versions of ourselves, because we're pulling ourselves in so many different directions and we have so many different distractions, and we have social media and the world is going crazy right now. And, we're looking at our phone and there's just so many things that we can get attached to and we're looking at, and we're not taking time to refill and pour our own cups. So self-care is so important. Meditation, journaling, going on a walk. If it's going golfing, getting a massage, get your hair done, get your feet done. Those are things that you need to do to take care of yourself, remedy yourself, make sure you're good. Because if you've shown those behaviors before in the past, you can do those back again. You can do it again. But it's just acknowledging and understanding, maybe I'm pulling myself thin in other places and I need to say no. You hear me? Say no. Sometimes that's the mean thing to say. Because we want to go to every party. We want to go to every social event. We got FOMO, but we sometimes have to feel comfortable setting boundaries and saying no. because that's the uncomfortable piece, is setting those boundaries. That's the awkward piece, is saying, no, I can't. I got to get some sleep, because I know if I don't get my sleep, I know I'm not going to be the best version for myself tomorrow. And I know that that's going to lead into some other things. That's going to lead into some other things. And then we're going to do it all over again and again.
Man, Shawn, thank you. Thank you. I want to ask one final question to close with. What is one of the best stories that you have of the impact on someone's life, of making that step to say, I'm going to do it?
Oh man. I mean, it has to be the guy I have right now. An amazing man. He's 74 years old, 74 years old. I train with him 3 times a week. We've been training for over a year together. Was actually at my wedding. You know, he's just that close of a client and a friend, I would say, because we've been able to have a connection. I think sometimes people don't realize that just outside of just the physical benefits and the health, there's another rapport and a connection that you get when you have a trainer. And sometimes people don't realize that that's something that maybe they wanted or maybe they might have needed. And that's something when you're able to really build that connection. But anyways, he was dealing with a autoimmune disease that was slowly just eating him apart. Truthfully, he would have days and lulls of complete sickness. A lot of things were going on. He had to go to the Mayo Clinic, right? He was losing weight, not able to eat. And, you know, this is one of the most God-loving, selfless, just one of the most nicest men I've ever met in my life. And he always had such a smile. And he always continued to say, Shawn, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here. When he went to the Mayo Clinic, they were surprised at his condition because they said, you don't look sick. You don't look like you have these things going on. You have this muscle, you have this. He says, I have a trainer. I work out 3 times a week. And they were very clear in saying that if you were not doing these things, this disease would have really gotten to you. And you would have been in a much, much worse condition had you not have your health that you have now. And, you know, it just cemented, and it reinforces everything and why I love what I do. Because that feedback, to know that I'm actually helping that, and I don't have a doctor complex in any way, shape, or form, but to know that I played a part in that is something that I'll always take with me. And it's something that I encourage anybody that if you're struggling with it, to get involved, to get into a trainer, to get into some type of program, to get to a plan, get into a community, dial into your faith. Make sure that you're having habits, small habits and goals that you can do to get you where you need to be. Make sure you're taking care of yourself through self-care.
Friends, if today hit you like it hit me, I hope you take this conversation and let it move you. Let it move you to action, not just emotions. You know, Shawn shared something super important that I hope you heard. And that is, you matter. You matter to someone somewhere right now. Your health, your emotions, your strength, your mindset. It's not just about you. It's about many people around you. People are looking to you. They care for you, and they're counting on you. So stay in the fight. You matter. 3 action steps, 3 addicted to betterment action steps you can take with you today to go do something. Number 1, seek help. Find an expert. Shawn, world-class trainer at Lifetime. You don't have to go to Lifetime. We all love Lifetime, but it's not about that. Find someone who can help you, hold you accountable, give you the wisdom that you need, the knowledge that you need, and help you. So seek help. Ask for help. Number 2, start small and stay consistent. You know, if you went and worked out for 8 hours tomorrow, you're just going to be sore as hell. But if you worked out for 15 minutes every day for the rest of the year, the compound effect of that would be game changing. So don't feel like you have to take it all in one bite. Start small, be consistent. Number 3, fill your cup. Take care of yourself. Self-care doesn't mean going and binging on Netflix and eating all day. No, it means holding yourself accountable, giving yourself encouragement, seeking the people that fill your cup. But fill your cup. Take care of yourself. Friends, let's go. So, you just listened to this episode. Now, join us in being addicted to betterment. Please subscribe to the show, share with your friends, tag us, and please take a moment, leave a review. Yeah, we do want your stars, but we really want the feedback.